Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Today I'm going to be sharing 5 things that help entrepreneurs grow faster. Before I get started, I am going to shout out one business that has sponsored our Boss Babe business show, and that business is Charlie Shops. So, Charlie Shops deals with custom gift baskets. They provide deals and custom gift baskets, holidays, birthdays, parties, couples, any special occasion that you can think of where you want a custom gift basket. You can text to order at 757-842-0556, and Charlie will assist you, or someone on the team will assist you. What will happen is you're going to tell them what you're looking for, you're going to tell them what your budget is, and then based off of that information, they can provide you with either a similar quote or they can let you know if they are the person to deliver your custom basket. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this conversation tonight. Um, hello everyone. Welcome back if you were watching previously. If this is your first time on our channel, welcome. Please subscribe if you like the message that I'm going to share this evening. My name is Katan. I'm the founder of BossBabeBlog.com, and many people know me for different things. So I am a small business loyalist, which means that I actively and loyally promote small businesses that are listed in my directory, and I actively and loyally provide resources for small businesses that are listed in my directory and some that are not listed in my directory but just need some support. Perfect example would be right now, I'm actually wearing a necklace from Bling with Shell, a brand listed in our directory, super fun. And then I'm also wearing some earrings from Kisses by Monique, another brand listed in my directory. And my lipstick slash lip gloss is coming from Carlita Cosmetics. So that's just an example of how I like to represent and show off the brands that are in my shopping directory. But there's other things that I do, which is why I came on here to talk about 5 things that helps entrepreneurs grow. So let's talk about it. Being that I'm in the business marketing, advertising, consulting, elevation, branding industry, these are just some of the things that I definitely see through experience that will help you with growing faster. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't grow if you don't have some of these things on the list. However, if you were to ask a person, what will it take for me to grow faster? How can I get to from point A to point B faster? These are the 5 things that I'm going to share with you. The first thing is accountability. So, accountability is always going to help you grow faster. Now, we sometimes make the mistake of understanding what accountability looks like or what it is. Accountability is not shaming, accountability is not beating yourself up, accountability is not loudly broadcasting everything that you're not good at. That's not accountability, because I've seen that too. And sometimes people mistake that for what accountability is going to look like. Accountability simply means being self aware about your own decisions and what kind of results those decisions brought, and accepting the reality that these are decisions that you made. And that doesn't mean you have to beat yourself up for that. And it doesn't mean that you have to shout out to the world that you're terrible or you can't do something right. Sometimes we get so stuck in the negative side of it that we don't focus on the solution oriented side of it, which is the goal of accountability, at least for people who are trying to elevate and grow, is to take accountability for your actions, your decisions, and then figure out what the best step is going to be to get out of that, to get to a better space. It's not to beat up on yourself or to have negative self-talk. So accountability is not a justification for negative self-talk. Hello. Thank you for joining. Clock it. I got to add that. But yes, so accountability is definitely the first one. All right. So the next thing is solution-oriented thinking. Now, if you are someone who wants to grow faster as an entrepreneur, you need to be solution oriented. What does that mean? You're focused on the wins. You're focused on how you can elevate. You're focused on how you can grow. You're not sitting in the same emotion. I can't tell you how many people I've seen in business and in life where there's a problem and they sit in that problem and they stay in that problem and they don't do anything to get out of the problem. And the reason why the problem is not the problem. The problem is that we are sitting in the problem for so long instead of coming up with a solution and simply moving to the next step in the next room. We spend so much time. Great example. One time I had an entrepreneur telling me about, oh, this went wrong and this didn't work. And so now I have to change that. And okay, I went back and talked to them again. We were still talking about the same problem. And it was a long period of time. It was a long gap in between. You can't be talking about the same problem over and over again without having that solution oriented mindset to say, hey, we need a solution. Here's my solution to this problem, and then move on to the next step. There are so many times in my business journeys where I've been frustrated, I've had a negative experience, I've, didn't like something, or I felt like I was in a negative headspace. But I had to tell myself the reason why I became an entrepreneur was to create solutions for people. So, in order for me to stay in a solution oriented mindset and always be thinking about the positives, the growth, and how to overcome, I have to practice that in my personal life and in my personal mindset. So, things don't go your way, you got to release them. Don't hold it in. Don't feel like you have to be a robot. But in the same breath, after you get that out of your system, or you take a deep breath or you release or whatever, it's time to move on to what the solution is. We cannot stay in the same problem, because if you bring a problem to a person, well, I'm not saying a person, I'm saying to me, if you bring me a problem, you say this is a problem, you get it off your chest, we come back 10 months later, it's still the same problem and there's no growth that has happened, it appears as if this is a wanted problem. If it's not something that you want, we got to learn how to process, take in what we like, practice discernment, and release what we don't like and move on to the next thing. It's as simple as that. And when you are someone that is solution oriented, you understand the true value of your time. You know how expensive your time is, meaning you're not going to waste it talking about the same problem for too long. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have those days where you want to get stuff off your chest, but if you have a problem and somebody comes back to you 10 months later and you still have that same exact problem, and there has been no changes to alleviate that problem or to redirect that issue, then it doesn't seem like you're solution oriented. It doesn't appear that way. Now, there's going to be an exception to every rule, so I'm not saying that this is the case for everyone. But what I am saying is that if you are truly someone that wants to grow faster, then you're going to find solutions faster. And in order for you to find solutions faster, you have to realize, I don't want this problem, and I'm going to work on a plan to change this problem faster. Staying in the problem and complaining about what's wrong and what you're not liking, instead of just coming up with a solution and moving on, is really going to be a waste of your time. And then sometimes we go looking for solutions in other people where the solution resides in us. So you're looking for someone else to bring a solution on how to be more consistent, when in reality, to be more consistent, it resides within yourself. That's a decision you have to make for yourself. And if you don't make it for yourself, it's not going to happen. So why are we waiting for someone else to tell us how to be consistent? Why are we not coming up with a plan on how we're going to be consistent? Now, if you need help, that's a different story. But in many cases, someone who's solution oriented is going to go further than someone who is problem oriented. When you realize there's an issue, figure out how you're going to get past it. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to have moments where you're not your best. You are going to have days where you feel like you could have done something better. But the goal is not to sit and dwell in it and beat yourself up. The goal is to take accountability for your actions and how those actions resulted in certain results, and then to learn from it and create a solution, try something different, so that you're not sitting down in the same seat because you did the same things, instead of realizing that there's something that needs to change. So being solution oriented. The next thing is initiative. You have to be someone that takes initiative. You can't be waiting for somebody to tell you to take initiative on anything as an entrepreneur, because what people fail to realize is that entrepreneurship is not like 9 to 5 ship as an SHIP. And let me explain. Sorry, I had to get my back together. But entrepreneurship is not like a 9 to 5 in the sense of, when you're working a corporate job or a 9 to 5 job, there are people that are put in place to hold you accountable to doing your work and being productive. There are people to put you in place to hold you accountable to how you show up for yourself and how you show up for the business. That's the structure that's created when you're working at a job that is not yours. When you are working at a job that is yours, you own the business. There is no one put in place unless you hire someone and put them in place. So if you hire a business manager that is supposed to manage your entire business, and there's different roles in here, I'm going to make sure I throw that out there, because some people will hire a social media manager or a website designer and think that they're hiring a business manager. That's not the same role. Your business will require many different roles, but when you first start out, you might be doing everything. So when you hire a business manager, you will have somebody who keeps you on your P's and Q's and is telling you, hey, don't forget this. Hey, you got to do this. Hey, fix that. But until you hire a business manager, it is your job to do it. So as an entrepreneur, You must take initiative. There's going to be a lot of moments where you're going to have to be the one to say, this needs to get done, and you have to do it on your own. No one is here to prompt you. You can go and get help, but you have to take initiative to get help. You can grow your business, but you have to take initiative to do the research. You can study, but you have to take initiative to execute what you've studied. If you don't take that initiative, nothing gets done. And that's the reality of being an entrepreneur. So that's number 3. Number 4 is abundance. You have to have abundance if you want to grow faster. Because when you come from a place of scarcity, you are trying to hold on to every last little drop of everything, because you're not realizing that when you operate from scarcity, it decreases your quality. As an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to invest in your business. You have to be willing to invest in yourself. You have to be willing to invest in your community. You have to be willing to invest in your clients. Most importantly, you have to be willing to invest in your development. And if you are unwilling to do those things, you're not going to be able to operate from a place of abundance, because when you are abundant, it shows in your work. It shows in the quality that you produce. It shows in the smiles on your clients' faces when they receive quality work and not something that has been rushed, or quality products and not something that has just been, thrown in a bag. So you have to be able to have abundance. A great example of abundance and scarcity in entrepreneurship, one of them is about investing. I can't tell you how many times a person might say, oh, well, that's kind of expensive, don't you think, for a business service? But the same way you would want a client to see the value in your products, you need to be able to see the value in these business services and find the ones that are right for you so that you can get quality, because quality is what is important. So when you operate from abundance, we're not so focused on how much does this cost? What does that cost me? We're focused on what is the value that this is going to bring, and does it align with what I'm trying to accomplish? And how can I utilize this, if I can utilize it? Because funding might be different depending on where you go. Another thing too is that you don't have to give away everything for free, but if you create value for your audience and for your clients, you will see growth in your business, and that comes from a place of abundance. So a great example for me, at least, I'll use my show as an example. Yes, I do provide business marketing services. I do provide graphic design services. I provide all of that, right? And the price points are higher because the work that it takes to do is a lot longer. And the investment that we put into it, whether we're contracting someone on our team or whether it's me doing it myself, it takes a lot of time, effort, and work behind these projects. So the price point is higher. In the same breath, the quality you're going to receive is going to be amazing. And on top of that, even if a person is unable to purchase, the advertising membership in my directory, I still host multiple events that are dedicated to uplifting, supporting, and providing insight or resources for people in our communities, online and offline. A great example would be one of my shows. I had someone comment to me one time, why you have so many free things? You need to stop doing stuff for free. And you don't have to do things for free. It's not required to be a business owner to do stuff for free, right? In the same breath, you can provide things for free that do not break you down and do not take away from your energy and your clients that are paying for a service. You can still provide that to the community. It's just about how you do it. And so my Boss Babe Business Show is an example of how I provide free advertisement to entrepreneurs that want to advertise their brand on my YouTube channel and platform. Now, will this specific resource always be free? I can't say that I know that, but I do know that I have multiple free resources. So even if this one wasn't, you'll find another resource where you're able to promote your brand for free, or you're able to advertise for free. And it's about providing value, and it's about operating from a place of abundance. And it's about me saying, hey, I may not be a millionaire yet, but I know that I can contribute to someone else's growth. I can provide a resource. I can help someone to feel like they're not alone, because when you start by doing that, you show people not only are you real and credible, but you're providing value and you're operating from a place of abundance. And when you do that, not only will your clients thank you and reward you, but people will patronize you, people will support you, people will share your business in different rooms. And so it's important to operate from a place of abundance and understand the importance of investing and not being afraid to spend money on your business. You have to spend money sometimes to make money, not always, but sometimes. And some things are best not to get for free. Not all things, but some things you want to skip the free portion and you want to just go get a paid portion. Doesn't mean you might not have to do a payment plan. There's different options. We got Afterpay, we got invoices, we got all kinds of stuff going on in this world right now. So there's many options, but it's important to understand that abundance factor, operating from a place of abundance versus, scarcity, because it shows. Another way that I would give an example of operating from abundance versus scarcity, I've had times where I've talked to professionals and given them free insider consults. And, I'll offer something. I'll say, hey, you should offer something to your clients. And they'll say something like, oh, I can't afford to do that. That's way too expensive. I can't give this out, or I can't do that. We need to make money. And as much as I understand we need to make money and we're a business, again, providing value is what gets people to see your credibility. So I'm not saying you need to break the bank. I'm not saying that you need to do something that's going to have you out of business, because I've never been the advocate for that. However, providing some level of, whether it's a free gift, whether it's a free ebook, whether it's something to provide value to your clients to get them through those doors, it can really help. But when you come from a place of scarcity where you're like, no, we can't do that. No, I can't afford that. No, this is that. Your clients can sense that, and it's going to decrease the chance that you're going to get people who actually go and make a purchase. And that's not in every situation. Like I said, there's an exception to every rule, but operating from abundance instead of scarcity is important. The next thing is urgency. So we talked about taking the initiative, not waiting for someone to tell you anything. Act with urgency. When you want things done and completed, you have a sense of urgency to get them done. You figure out what needs to be done in order for you to get said result, and then you go do it just like that. And so, when a person says, hey, if you would like to advertise your business, fill out this form. Have that urgency and fill out that form, because people are waiting on you so they can get word out about your brand. If you're saying that you want assistance with something, go to this link, book this consult. Because if you're wanting that, you're going to go there and you're going to get that. Have a sense of urgency of, I need to take care of this quickly, because time waits for no one. And in business, time is money. You have to make sure that you have that urgency. So 5 things that can help entrepreneurs grow faster. Number 1, accountability. Taking accountability, having self-awareness, not beating up on yourself, because those are 2 different things, but taking accountability. Number 2, being solution-oriented. It's all about the solution and how to get to the next step, nothing else. Everything else is a waste of your time. If you go through something negative in business world, in relationship world, whatever part of your life, you go through something negative, you need to assess what you went through, assess what you did, and ask yourself what you are changing for the future and make that change. Be solution oriented. Number 3, take initiative. That means you are taking the initiative to do things for your business. People are not having to tell you. If you need help with something, take the initiative to seek out that help. If you need research on something, take the initiative to go research it. If you need change, take the initiative to execute the things that you research. But you have to take initiative if you want to see that growth, in my experience, faster growth as an entrepreneur. The next thing, abundance, operating with an abundance mindset or mentality. And last but never least, a sense of urgency, figuring out what it is that you need to do to get to the result or the destination, and then going and getting it done. The procrastination thing is a big hurt to our business. So when you feel like you're procrastinating, when you feel like you're kind of just, pushing and waiting and stuff, that's the moment when you need to get up and go do it. Because what will happen is you'll never do it if you keep procrastinating. We have to keep building our momentum. You build your momentum by executing, executing, executing. So those are the 5 things that I would say help entrepreneurs to grow faster. If you have some ideas or tips, feel free to share. And hopefully this inspired someone or gave some insight to new entrepreneurs or seasoned entrepreneurs that just need a little bit of a pep talk and a reminder. Because yes, entrepreneurship can be a challenge. You can feel like you're alone. It can be hard to find people that align with your vision in the beginning. But it's really important to know that you are the catalyst. Whatever it is you want to see happen for your business, for your life, it will happen when you make it happen. It will happen when you go out and do what it needs to be done to see that growth. But a lot of times people don't realize that because they don't see the true potential in what they are able to do. They don't see just how amazing they truly are and how much of a catalyst they can be when it comes to their business growth. But everything truly does depend on you when you are an entrepreneur or a business owner starting out or growing a brand. So know that, understand that, and watch the growth happen. Thank you for listening and watching wherever you're watching from. And I will see you guys at our next video where we are going to talk about, give me a second. Hold on. Hmm. I put it on my Facebook community. So let me go there. Okay, so we talked about how availability does not equate to quality, cheap does not equate to quality, Soft Girl Sunday recap, 5 must-haves for an entrepreneur to grow, and then 5 business owners that you should know. That's the next thing we're about to talk about. So I'm about to shout out 5 business owners that you definitely want to have in your network. And I'm going to tell you why in just a second. So if you have not already subscribed and you love small businesses, you love business growth, you love business conversations, go subscribe, because once we reach 200 subscribers, somebody's getting a free website. Okay? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in about 1 to 5 minutes.